Well, good day, everybody. What is it? The 1st of March, 2025. It's about 8:40 in the morning, 8:45. Got out early because, the big news that just came out. It was the fight in the White House with Zelensky against Trump and Vance, mostly Trump, of course. But it's very, very, very interesting. And those that watch this channel, you already know maybe a lot of the background of what caused the fight. Of course you do, but there's a lot more. It's ideology mostly. I will just say it's ideology that really caused this. It's the background, and I've reiterated on this, but not really. I don't know. Maybe not enough. But I'll just give my perspective, and very interesting stuff going on here. But let's get into this. You already know about the fight. You've probably already seen the videos with Zelensky. And what I would like to say to start off is Zelensky, obviously he rehearsed for this. He was planning on this. And how do I know this? Because he did not want to sign this deal. It's this mineral deal, and I assume that he did sign it, but who even knows about that? This fight between him and Trump has taken such high precedence that nobody is even talking about. Did he actually sign this minerals deal or didn't he sign it? I guess that's not important. All the other news is not important, apparently, of what's going on, because it's overshadowed by this fight with Zelensky. And the reason why I say he rehearsed this is because he wouldn't have really won. He would have been humiliated if he goes there and signs this deal, especially after saying multiple times he'll never sign that deal. And of course he's bringing Poroshenko in front of the courts by selling off Ukraine, and then he goes out and sells off Ukraine, at the same time when he's trying to prosecute Poroshenko, the former president of Ukraine, for selling off Ukraine. And he does it himself here, so, be hypocritical. So, but he was, I don't know, how was he compelled to go there? If you think about his flight, he left, on Thursday, but what is not spoken, I don't think, in most circles, is the fact that he stopped in Ireland first, and he met with British officials. And a lot of Russians, from this perspective over here, maybe it's not really talked about, but I've been hearing this already for months, that a lot of people in Russia, even high commentators, are saying that Zelensky is actually controlled by the British. And I try to say, well, no, I tell certain other people that I do speak with, and I say, well, that is done maybe at the request of Biden. Biden, apparently a lot of people believe that Biden originally sent Boris Johnson to get Zelensky to stop this deal, when they had it like a month or so after the conflict started, to get him to scuttle the deal and to continue fighting, and it's probably true. I think Jeffrey Sachs, who's very informed, I think he was saying that it was Biden that ordered Boris Johnson to go and scuttle the deal. I don't really know. But in spite of that, a lot of Russians believe that it is the British, and maybe through the Rothschilds bank. But remember, Macron, he was a Rothschilds banker, and he's probably still got a lot of connections to the Rothschilds. And he was, of course, I guess you would say very, very unsuccessful when he went over there. I remember him and Trump touching each other's knees, and then Starmer, I guess there's a little touching on the shoulders, but that is inconsequential as far as I'm concerned. It's just very strange that they're, Trump and Macron were touching each other's knees, but I don't think it's not like, everybody knows that there is that Macron is either gay or bisexual, one of the two. That's a known fact. There's photos of him kissing men and things like that in his trunks, wet swimming trunks on a yacht or something. I saw those. Maybe some of you have as well. And then this thing about his wife, who might be his husband, Brigitte Candace Owens. You have to look at some of her videos to find out a little bit more about that. Very strange stuff. But I don't want to get into that. So let's talk about this a little bit more, this deal. And there's just so much. I have to make a video on this alone, obviously. And I could even talk for hours on this. But Yeah, it's but the argument is, I guess it's more like music to the ears, because it shows that Trump at least has a. It's not that Trump knows everything about what's going on. He's of course misled or he's misinformed, possibly on certain aspects of this, but he is far better informed probably than he was originally in his first term. So, and J.D. Vance, like I said, these people are misinformed in a lot of ways, and sometimes makes you wonder if Trump is kind of being a little bit, what's that word? Disingenuous, and he actually does know more about what's going on, but he makes it look like he's a little bit naive when he's not. I don't know. It's not like he is completely honest. He's not, but he's just far more honest than all these other Western politicians. So, there's obviously the best are Robert Fico. To me, is the best. Very honest. He has very good judgment. And then there's Viktor Orban. I'm talking about the Western ones, because if I was going to just say about great leaders, I would also say one of them would be, of course, Lukashenko, and then of course there's Putin. These guys, they deal more in reality, but it's very I don't know, refreshing, I guess is the word, to see that Donald Trump and for the most part Vance are, at least they're dealing in the realm of reality and honesty. And you have, it hasn't been that way for a long time. You got Biden, and you never know what world this guy was in. He was like a Manchurian candidate. I think he was like a puppet. He maybe went and said what he was told to say. I have no idea about Biden, but I said yesterday, and a lot of people were talking about, that was the big story, actually, that was overshadowing things for a while, is the press secretary of Jill Biden coming out and saying that they knew fully well that Biden's mental capacities were basically gone, and they were scared to death. I think that was his word, scared to death of what Biden might say. So, but that was in yesterday's video. But Zelensky going there, it showed, to me, my opinion, is that it showed he has a combination of living in denial and his con artist attitude. Those combined together, like you heard him thinking that he's winning the conflict with Russia. And remember Tulsi Gabbard, I guess right after this started, she said, that it's really stupid to have this conflict, on a war that Ukraine cannot possibly win. And even when you see some of these analysts coming up and trying to say, well, how would it fare if we had a war between the United States and Russia? And most of the time they were saying that Russia would win. Definitely in their neighborhood. You go and you try to attack Russia over there, you're not going to win. The United States will not win. And it's probably much different if they were fighting in the United States. Probably Russia couldn't win, but Russia would never try to do anything like that. I think they're a little bit more sane than a lot of these people in the West. So it was on full display, this carnoters. Zelensky was coming up with exaggerations and lies and stretches. I think I wrote down a couple of them here, but I could just, like I said, I could be writing down and talk for hours on this stuff, because it's these lies that he was coming up with. But let's just keep going here. I want to stick to the script. Stop trying to, sway me here. Yeah, but like I said, that I wrote down here to make sure to say that at least Trump and Vance are dealing in reality. And Zelensky, apparently, a lot of people are saying, he's itching his nose. But you see, and I've seen in other videos, I think Zelensky has been told to kind of leave his nose alone a little bit, stop touching it, because everybody knows that he's addicted to a white powder, and he's going like this, moving his face around a lot, like his nose. I don't know. I have no idea if this powder actually does cause you some irritation or tickling in your nose or whatever, but he's always doing some stuff like this, and I think I've seen photos of him, maybe you saw some traces of a powder around him, and it's like I think he was doing these things for TikTok, and I think he might even still be doing this, like in some decorative room of a palace, if it's not a fake background. I don't know. And it was years ago, and you can see that there's some kind of powder around. So and everybody knows that Boris Johnson, there's a lot of these politicians are really into that white powder, and it's very obvious. And but this is a big contrast what he had with Trump and Vance. As remember when he would come to see Biden, and it's like I makes you wonder, was that Hunter? Because Biden was acting like it's his favorite son, Zelensky, like, that's my boy, and Zelensky, yeah, daddy, can I have more allowance? Can I have some more money? And Trump, of course, always alluding at the fact that every time he comes to the U.S., Zelensky leaves with billions of dollars, tens of billions at least, tens of billions of dollars, It's just incredible. Anything that Zelensky wanted, it looks like Biden sometimes hesitating, but he always got it. Zelensky always got it. And Trump is like not the piggy bank anymore, and Zelensky's crying because of that. And Zelensky, he was rehearsing to go over there, obviously, because you saw Trump was not really falling for this. Zelensky is known for, obviously, he and his team, for controlling the media. They control and they get out. And most of these European leaders were more than happy to leave the stage for Zelensky because they're part of this deep state sort of a thing. I call it a global deep state, if you want. It's the establishment, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, it's just a title. Like what did Juliet say, what's in a name? It's what you call it, it doesn't matter. But there's a lot of these people, and it's a lot of the big business people. Obviously, everybody knows Soros is involved in this stuff. And Billy Boy, the software guy, he's involved in this stuff. And a lot of this has to do, obviously, with population reduction. Wars are great for making lots of money and reducing the population. So that's a double plus for them. And, the software guy, his family's been involved in, what does they call it? Parental, I can't remember, Planned Parenthood is what it is. And they were always speaking. So, all these jokers, Klaus Schwab, all these people, they think that they have the answers, and the answer is to reduce the world's population. And of course that means get rid of the useless eaters, which is us, especially the Slavic people, or people with brown skin or black skin. Let's get rid of them first and foremost. And all these people may be on welfare in the U.S., I don't really know. I don't know, but they need the voters too, and then so they float these people into the U.S., and obviously they don't care. Do you think Zelensky cares about his people? He said he has sacrificed hundreds of thousands of people, and he wants to keep on sending them. He wants to keep on doing that, and he's looking for a way, and he's telling the West, and all of his puppets are out there, Budanov and all of these people, we're still willing to sacrifice the blood of our people for the agenda, the global agenda of bringing Russia to its knees, and to bring Russia to its knees, and then we will go in there and we'll make lots more money by plundering the resources. That's the whole goal, is money, power, wealth, control. I just said that in some of the last videos. I mean, these people, they want it all, because it's like a coin with three sides: control, power, money. You flip it, and if you have one, you have all of them, or but you have to have total control, total power, total money. I don't know. You can buy the other commodities of the other sides of the coin, having an abundance of one of the other sides. I mean, it's just a more philosophy kind of crap, I'm saying. Yeah. But anyway, Zelensky talking over Trump, interrupting Trump, not letting Trump get anything to say. I mean, he comes to the White House to talk to his biggest benefactor, which is the President of the United States, whoever it might be, and interrupting and talking over him because he didn't like what he heard. And his message, a lot of his message, as he knows, it was, a lot of press was there, and they were filming this, and it was trying to impress the American people, thinking that maybe the American people will go along with that. He was spouting all these lies that Putin got up in the morning and attacked Ukraine, and why I say it was rehearsed is because he was very careful to be putting it in such a way to talk in generalities. Putin invaded, Putin killing our people, and all. But of course they never mentioned the fact that when Victoria Nuland overthrew the democratically elected government of Ukraine, democracy, overthrow the governments. That's their democracy. In other words, by destroying democracy, they're promoting democracy. So, Yanukovych wasn't doing what they wanted. Yanukovych was seeking a middle ground between Europe and Russia, and they didn't like that. No. They wanted Yanukovych to go completely over to the side of the EU, of Europe, which is, for the most part, obviously, and Trump knows it, controlled by the United States. Or those people that even control the United States, which is the deep state. This is all obvious. You guys can see all of this stuff, but trying to, say that there's only one entity in charge is not necessarily true. But you got these rich people. It's all the rich people. It's what does it say? Follow the rich white man or something like that. But it's just incredible. Like I said, I can talk for hours on this here. Probably what time? 15, 16 minutes. I'm gonna probably keep talking a lot more. But what I would do if I was in the shoes of Trump or Vance, I would have been countering Zelensky from the very start when he starts spewing out these lies. Yeah, I don't know. Is Zelensky not knowledgeable? Does he actually believe his own lies, or, I don't know. And he was talking about Merkel, and he said Merkel and Macron, but of course I think he was wrong. He was talking about 2014. I believe that was Hollande. It was Hollande at that time. He didn't mention anything about the Minsk agreements, but he kept trying to say, and I think even Trump was maybe even going along with it, that Putin was the one. Putin was the one that disobeyed the ceasefires and all that sort of stuff. But, it started out with that peace agreement, and Ukraine was willing to sign it, and then they backed out of it, that I was just mentioning, about the one with Boris Johnson. And the ceasefires, I don't know about the ceasefires, and maybe there was. I'm trying to think of this. He said something about 2019, some sort of a ceasefire, and I believe there really was. But what was going on maybe at that time? I think, my facts might be a little bit cloudy, but taken altogether, they're far more accurate than anything that Zelensky was saying. But if there was some sort of a ceasefire back then, obviously it was not observed. If I remember very clearly, the Ukrainians continued to bomb the people of Donbass, even during a ceasefire. And it's just like through those 8 years, and Putin was willing to let them continue to have the entire Donbass, but Zelensky, he wanted the Crimea, because obviously the Crimea was promised to the United States. I mean, that's very obvious. Only I and Jeffrey Sachs have been actually mentioning a lot of that. But, that was the whole thing, to pay back Biden to letting the United States have control of the Crimea. And so they wanted the Crimea. And so now they lost pretty much all the Donbass, and by the time this peace agreement is signed, they probably will definitely lose the entirety of the Donbass. But then again, there's some parts of Russia that Ukraine is still occupying. So we'll see how that is going to end. But there's just so much of this. Even one reporter was asking, I think, well, what happens if Russia does not, or they violate the ceasefire? But like I was just saying, there was that ceasefire back then, and in truth, it was Ukraine violating it. But there's no mention of that in the press. And then you can go back, since, the time before that. And they were bombing those people. And Poroshenko, and even Merkel admitted it. Hollande admitted it. And they were, what was it? It was Poroshenko, he was actually laughing about it. We're going to bomb those people. The children aren't going to be able to go to school and our children in Western Ukraine, they'll go to school in peace, and they'll go on to go to the university. And these other children in Eastern Ukraine will spend their whole academic period of their life hiding in the basements. And he thought that was pretty cool. But it was not mentioned in the West, not mentioned at all. Not even, apparently Trump maybe doesn't even know about that. They never talk about that. It's very, very strange. And I remember even then, they did some horrific things. These are the Banderites. I shouldn't say the Ukrainian people, and I kind of make a mistake sometime, but there's a large portion, obviously, of the Ukrainian people that have been indoctrinated. They've been indoctrinated their entire lifetime. This all started, obviously, right after World War II, with Bandera. And I have to mention that Bandera, he was very, very good. Who is that guy? He went to Guyana and he had these followers. It was some sort of religious sect, and he got them to drink the Kool-Aid or whatever it was, and made them believe that they are going to die. Their souls will become taken by aliens up to heaven or some sort of a thing. And he had many hundreds of people. They drank this stuff. That was not even that long ago when something like that happened in Kenya, and they had hundreds of people poisoning themselves and dying, thinking that that's salvation. But a lot of these Ukrainians, they're brainwashed as well. And this is that Banderite. And Adolf Hitler himself, the Nazis were scared. What do I use? Shitless. Sorry about that. Pardon my French. They're scared shitless of Bandera. So they put him in prison because of his influence. They let him continue running his operations from a prison in Germany to go after the Russians, of course, and the Jews. And this guy was so successful and has had this ability, like I said, that it scared Hitler. They were thinking that Bandera, Stefan Bandera, was going to create his own little empire, and they didn't like that because, like I said, he got people to massacre, and love to massacre children, love to massacre innocent people, all different types of people, the undesirables, as they were going by that the Ukrainians are the master race. Doesn't that sound familiar? Adolf was doing that obviously as well, but Adolf was not anywhere near as successful as Stefan Bandera. That's why they were so scared of him, and they had to lock him up because of his power. And even when the guy is dead, you have so many people. And I guess part of this was what they were doing is, they use with textbooks and with children's books. I mean, this is probably even still now. And they tell these people, they have them so badly indoctrinated to believe that Russians are not even humans, but they're a species. Zelensky himself said Russians are a species, that they are subhuman, and you don't even know this stuff. And they teach these children, that Russians are dirty and stupid people, and that the Ukrainians are the ones that basically invented everything, and they are God's chosen people, basically. And Jesus, of course, was Ukrainian. They say that. Honest to God, they say that stuff. And that they built the pyramids of Egypt. And maybe the Egyptians helped a little bit. This is incredible superiority complex things, And that's and even some of these Ukrainians, that they go to Germany or they go to Poland, and of course a lot of these people are really pissed off about these Ukrainians. And there's some Ukrainians, they even had them in video recordings, and when somebody was asking one of them, because they're staying in luxury hotels in Germany, places like that, and they said, well, yes, we are better than you are, so you have to be doing this for us because we are superior people. And doing crimes, doing all sorts of things, beating up people that do not support Ukraine in Poland. And that makes you wonder, well, they left Ukraine. They're not fighting for Ukraine. They fled, and yet they still are talking as if they are some sort of I don't know, loyal to Ukraine and everything too. I don't know. But anyway, okay. Anyway, I don't know. I have a lot of this stuff here. But these people, they get them. It's incredible, these ideologies. It's just like Zionism, How does... I don't know. If it were me, and I would sit here and think, and look at myself and say, well, why do I have such seething hatred for, like, other peoples or something like that, It's unbelievable, and they raise these people and indoctrinate them to hate Russians. They're feeding on hatred and Zelensky, and you even heard Trump talking about that Zelensky, he cannot get rid of this. And the fact of the matter is, I think Zelensky is probably more Russian in his ethnicity than he is Ukrainian. And I think when he became the leader, he had to learn Ukrainian. He was speaking Russian. And yet a lot of this fight came about because they made a law that all these people in the Donbass, they must speak Ukrainian. They outlawed the language of Russian. They outlawed it. And these people are so thoroughly indoctrinated. They're so thoroughly indoctrinated. They hate everything Russian, Russian culture, everything. It all has to be destroyed. It's just unbelievable. I think Bandera, one reason why he is so successful, if you guys ever know this philosophy of yin and yang, where to have good, you have to have evil. It's like saying night and day. To realize that things are light and it is daytime, you also have to have night, because how you don't have anything to compare dark with and light. You have to have both of them to say, well, I don't know if you understand that. A lot of you probably do. Nobody's dummies out there. And Bandera, so a lot of these people, they look at, to hate, Jews and inferior peoples, but yet on the other side, the other part of the yin and yang, is to love Bandera. So they call Bandera their father, Father Bandera. And Bandera, he's noted for, like I said, for saying that I think it was chop off the heads of 60,000 Jews and roll them at the feet of Adolf Hitler, because he loved Adolf Hitler. Maybe Hitler put him up partly because Hitler was not as bad as they say. And it's really strange. One of the truths of history, and when you study history, like I studied history, of course, that was my subject, and I did really, really well. I got high honors from that, and professors asked me if they can use some of the papers that I wrote in books that they are going to write, doing the research, because it really fascinated me, so much stuff. But a lot of people even say that one thing that you learn in history is that the bad leaders are never as bad as they tell you, and the good leaders are never as good as they tell you. So, but like we're told that, oh, this leader was so fantastic and so great, and some people even talk about like Thomas Jefferson, very, very good leader, a lot of great things. He was trying to end slavery even in the 1700s, long before he became president. So he wanted slavery to be, abolished in the United States before the year 1800. And yet everybody here, they express, oh, he had slaves and all this sort of thing. But the people don't really understand what it was all about back then. He inherited Monticello from his father, and it was big estates. It was an agricultural place, and there were lots of estates in Virginia at that time, estates. And in order to be successful, you had to, have cheap labor. You couldn't be paying people a lot of money, for crops. Otherwise, it would have collapsed. Everything that he had would have collapsed. So he had to maintain these slaves. But he was so, what they don't tell you is that he treated them very well. Maybe that's why a lot of people, slaved, when they were free, they took on the name Jefferson. I don't know. That's just theories and everything like that. But a lot of these other plantation owners in the South, what they didn't like, Thomas Jefferson did some amazing things. He was even invented things. It's a lot like Benjamin Franklin, or some of these people were very good intellectuals, or Leonardo da Vinci or something like that. But one thing that he had, and I guess I mentioned it in a video once before, is he had running water in the slave quarters. And there were plantations, rich plantation owners, that did not even have running water in their big houses. And he had running water in the slave quarters. So, and they didn't like him. And at one point in time, what I was heard is they got him, and I think they captured him, held him like hostage for a short time, Thomas Jefferson, and he had to promise that he was not going to free slaves. I think that was before he became president, sometime before that. So he was put under a lot of pressure, in other words. So they won't tell you that in history. They'll say, oh, he's a bad guy, tear down the statues. I mean, that was the Biden years. Maybe it's going to be different Trump, maybe sometime that will come out, that truth. I don't really know. But, yeah, what else do I want to say here? Okay, good. I got through card number one. One thing I was going to say, it's kind of interesting because I say, oh, it's the 1st of March. And I was going to say, beware the Ides of March. And the Ides of March, I guess that is the 15th of March. And it was, from the Shakespeare play. And it was when they assassinated Julius Caesar. I guess that was a warning or something like that. So it's strange now, you have Zelensky. So maybe somebody should either say that to Zelensky. I don't think it's to Trump. I think Trump is very safe, I hope, right now. And I'd hate to be wrong. And you never know, some of these people, I'll tell you what, these evil people, they like to take these dates and repeat them, So like it's a precedence, like September 11th. Remember George Bush the first? He said that's when he declared a new world order. And it just so happens that September 11th is the day when, supposedly this guy in a cave that attacked, and then like Obama, all that stuff a lot of this is fake. And it's pretty much, if anybody looks at any real facts, Osama bin Laden, he died about that year, but yet Obama bin Laden, Obama killed Osama bin Laden in Pakistan when everybody that lived around, whoever was that might have been killed, and maybe nobody was killed, they said that wasn't Obama, and they knew the person who was there. And it's just a huge fake story. Oh, there's just so much fakes, And then they said, we dumped his body in the ocean to comply with Islamic law. And I remember reading a newspaper article, somebody thanking Obama for complying with Islamic law by burying Osama bin Laden in the ocean, for Islam or something like that. And then you find out there's no Islamic law that says that. The Islamic law of burial is I think, identical to the Christian one. So in other words, you think if somebody dies in some Islamic country hundreds of miles from the ocean, what did they do? Put him on an express camel and sent him to the ocean? To put him in the ocean to comply with Islamic law? Oh, come on now. They fill us with so much BS. It's just unimaginable. And you never know. I might be BS'd on a lot of this stuff too. I think we all are. God, wish they'd... How can... I don't know. How can you make sure that people tell that... You maybe got to sue people. Start suing them. But then you got to find out, well, who's the one that said it first? Anyway. Yes. Okay. I don't know, Zelensky, part of this, what was I saying? This rehearsal he did. I was like, he's using projection. I don't know if you guys know what projection is, like accusing your enemy or opponent of what you yourself are guilty of. And he accuses Putin of things when it's actually him. Can't even think of an example right now. But Zelensky, he loves the media. He loves the media, and they're masters of media, But it looks like Trump is on to him there. That's why, they were both talking at the same time. And it's, obviously disrespectful. And the Ukrainians, unfortunately, those that... And like I said, I don't really like to blame the Ukrainian people because they're victims of a heavy, heavy, heavy indoctrination. And it's sad, but these people are, unfortunately, part of this indoctrination has to do with a total disrespect. A disrespect of virtually everyone and everything that's maybe not Ukrainian, maybe even themselves. The vast corruption in Ukraine. I mean, if they didn't have corruption, the country wouldn't run at all. It's incredible. It's just incredible. Everything is corrupt there, And I heard about this long ago. I heard maybe it was 30 years ago. I said, I was thinking, maybe we should look into moving to Ukraine. And said, no. There are crazy people there, and it's I don't know. So I'd heard about all that stuff. You're really taking a chance. You really got to know how to operate in Ukraine. And if you're not corrupt, it's not that easy, I suppose. Yeah. But I first started watching this. I should say I was this. His name is Daril Adog, a black guy, and he was showing Benny Johnson's video, and then Benny Johnson in his video, which was really surprising, he was saying that Putin was evil. He says that Putin, two evil people, whatever. That's like, so many people, they don't really understand, Trump, to a large extent, he understands. I don't know if he maybe tries to do this to make people think, because maybe he doesn't want to go out on a limb too far, so he's probably trying to also say, yeah, Putin, not a good guy, blah, blah, blah. But, Putin wants to take care of his country. You got to think of it that way, just like Trump is. Trump is obviously a lot more, aggressive. Like, he put the sanctions on the Nord Stream 2. In truth, what does that have to do with the United States? It has nothing to do with the United States. That's between Germany and Russia. So in order to slow down Germany and to slow down Russia at the same time, he put those sanctions on there. And then, of course, Biden did one better and he blew it up. So, these people, they don't want Germany to be too economically powerful, neither of Russia, and maybe not China either. It's all a big game. It's all a big game. A lot of it is economics. But I couldn't believe Benny Johnson saying that. So he's also maybe somewhat misinformed. But Putin, like I was going to say, he had to do what he did when he did it. And he said he only regrets that he did not do that sooner, starting the special military operation. As I was just saying, and you guys probably know this if you watch my channel, they were killing thousands of the people in Donbass. Basically, you could say, killing their own people. The Western Ukrainian were killing their own people, the Banderite types of peoples, because they spoke Russian for the most part. And back when Lenin gave the Donbass to the region called Ukraine, those people never wanted to be a part of Ukraine. Never. You can find out yourself in history. Neither did any of the people in the Crimea. A lot of these places, maybe even the Transnistria, Transnistria for sure. I don't know. A lot of this was Stalin. Stalin shaved off parts of countries and gave it to Ukraine. And like I was talking recently, most of the leaders of the Soviet Union were Ukrainian or half Ukrainian. They were firmly ingrained with Ukraine, except for maybe Stalin, but Stalin did huge damage anyway. Stalin was Georgian. The only one that had a little bit of Russian in them, was Lenin, and he did everything for Ukraine as well. So Ukraine going around crying and manipulating, we were treated unfairly, we were treated, the Holodomor, all that kind of crap. It's nothing but lies. And if you see what Zelensky was doing, a lot of people are talking about, how it is, when he would get all of this stuff from the United States, hundreds of billions of dollars, what he would do is he'd turn around to the media and say what he didn't get. There's no way that they would have ever won anyway. Like Tulsi Gabbard said, you could have given them 100 F-16s at the very beginning. First, they didn't have the pilots. What Zelensky's real dream was, and everybody should know this, he wanted to start World War III. And it's not even for the benefit of his own country and his people, because you saw how willing he was to send hundreds of thousands of people to certain death. Zelensky was doing it for Zelensky and for the ideology, the Banderite ideology. At some point in time, maybe even towards the beginning, I don't know, he switched over and he became a Banderite. And then he doesn't even care about the other Banderites. And then you got to realize, Bandera hated the Jews, and Zelensky is supposed to be a Jew. None of this stuff really makes any sense, but this is just incredible. This is incredible what this guy is doing. Does he even know what he's doing? Maybe he just likes confrontation. I think the real truth is he loves money. And you have to think, you look at Donald Trump and compare him with Zelensky, and you have to look at a lot of people and say, well, what motivates you? Maybe even what controls you to a certain extent. And Zelensky, maybe that white powder is one thing. The other thing is money. But you look at Donald Trump. Money does not control Donald Trump, even if we might want to think it does, because he's out to make a lot of money, of course. But he's actually really not. You know what controls Donald Trump? I've said it before. Success. Trump is success driven, but Trump controls money. Money does not control Trump. Money controls Zelensky, and that is very obvious. Money and a white powder. So there's that big difference right there. So you have to find out what motivates people. That's just like a salesman. A salesman goes around and they try to figure out what motivates you. And then they shower you with compliments. You know, I really like you. All this kind of crap, you know. And Zelensky, oh, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful. Zelensky's just using a page from out of Charles Dickens' David Copperfield, like I always say. Uriah Heep. Not the band Uriah Heep, the German band, but Uriah Heep, the character. We're so humble, Mr. Macabre, well, so humble. And Vance was actually not accurate when he says, did we ever get a thank you? Well, Zelensky was thanking all the time. But he was using that. Oh, we're so grateful. We're so grateful, Mr. Macabre. We're so humble, you know, to get more and more and more. I mean, that's what he was using it as a tool. I mean, Biden, like Trump said, Biden was played like a fiddle. It's just incredible. So, anyway, too many people miss that. But that's just my perspective. And I can tell you one thing. It's absolutely accurate. It's undeniably accurate what I just said. How can you deny it? There's nothing. There is no facts that shows you that it's not true. Everything points to that is the honest to God truth about Zelensky. Really, really terrible. Maybe Trump should have said that to him. I'm just saying. No, but if Putin didn't do what he did when he did, just think if he acted earlier and the Ukrainians killed maybe only 5,000 people, maybe only 6,000 people, that would not be that much to weigh in Putin's favor of, say, you know, and the Russians were pressuring him. So many Russians were pressuring Putin the entire time, even though you never really heard about this stuff in the West, that they were killing all of these people in the Donbass. I think it was like up to 14,000 people. And you know, that he didn't go in it in time. And then when they started amassing on the border, the people from West Ukraine and Biden and all these, they were showering Ukraine. I mean, Trump was even a little bit part of it. Trump was even saying in this last interview, I gave you javelins. Obama gave you blankets, I gave you javelins. Well, Obama was doing, you know, sending a lot of money over there. And it was actually Biden. Biden was running Ukraine during Obama's time. So, you know, and Biden was setting himself up with businesses there, you know, Rosemont, Seneca, other things, you know, things I can't even talk about because I get deleted from YouTube, you know. Did I ever say research facilities? Victoria Nuland even mentioned that. They were doing investments, BlackRock went in there, all of this kind of stuff. They were ready for the pillaging. They were setting this thing all up. Biden was. And remember Biden's little speech? Oh, I told them to fire the prosecutor, and son of a bastages, they did it. He's basically showing that he was running Poroshenko at that time. You know, it's, and then people say, oh, how dare you say Project Ukraine? That's not, it is a Project Ukraine. George Soros, we all know that he was in that. I mean, I don't know, I'm going on a rant here, you know, but let me try to get back to the point here. But yeah, and the West, Soros, all these rich people, they possibly thought that they could bring Russia to its knees, go in and plunder whatever resources they have. In the old days, they always wanted to conquer Russia anyway. It makes you really, why in the heck would you want to do that? Napoleon, Adolf, even before that. You can go, the British even back then, you can go back to the days of the Ottoman Empire, Crimea. They wanted Crimea. Britain wanted Crimea back then. And Boris Johnson said, oh, Crimea, well, that's interesting. Oh, come on, Boris. All these people are so duplicitous and lying. Okay. And you can't forget, remember in Odessa, these Banderites, they burned people that did not want to go along with the Banderites I can't remember what that was, that institute. They burned these people alive. more than 80. I think it was like 89 people. They were killing people all over the place, after that. It's just incredible. Because we're the master race. Oh my God, Oh, Zelensky, another thing he said, yeah, we agreed to exchange prisoners in a ceasefire, and Putin, he dishonored that, blah, blah, blah. But it's not, I'll tell you what, maybe there was a ceasefire, as I probably mentioned already, and Ukraine kept fighting. They kept bombing the Donbass at that time. And they talk about, an exchange of prisoners, and Putin didn't do that. Putin wouldn't, but, something that you may not know, whenever Ukraine exchanged prisoners with Russia, sometimes there was few, they had broken bones, they were beat up, they were barely alive when Russia got them. And the ones, when Russia sent them over, they were in perfect health. They were fed, and they were very grateful to Russia. And there was one time, as you guys don't remember, Russia was sending an airplane filled with Ukrainian prisoners. It was going to be an exchange. I don't remember what Ukraine was supposed to be sending, but Ukraine would, later on, they would only send the healthy ones, the ones that didn't die or they didn't kill or maim and torture or something like that. A lot of them, they killed them in captivity purposely. But when Russia was sending some of these prisoners, Ukraine shot the plane down. And a lot of people, I think they were originally believing it was American, but I think it was, it was Czech weapons from the Czech Republic. But it was over Russian territory, and it had just recently taken off, or on its way to Ukraine, and the Ukrainians shot the plane down, carrying their own prisoners. And they even told the Ukrainians, we're sending this, don't fire, we're sending a plane. And the Ukrainians acknowledged that, and they shot it down anyway. They shot it down, and the reason why, the Ukrainians, they wanted the Nazis, they wanted the Azov battalion people, the killers, the tattooed swastika type people. And Russia was sending mostly those people that were just regular people that were forced into conscription, and Ukraine didn't want those people, so they killed them. And remember when they had these camps in the Donbass area with Ukrainian prisoners, Ukraine bombed them, killing their own people. There's so many instances of all this kind of crap, and I don't know, a lot of time we forget. I even forgot a lot about these things. It's downplayed and not even mentioned in the Western press. So I thought I would just let you guys know this. So I got to try to keep going on this video. This information. I'm almost done, believe it or not. Okay. So those were lies. More lies from Zelensky. Lie after lie after lie after lie. Exaggerations, twisting. That's projection right there, Saying what Putin did is actually what he did. And Putin didn't do it, And all of that time when things actually didn't go the right way, it's because Ukraine was scuttling it. And none of that stuff made it into the press for the most part. And maybe that's why Donald Trump believes the lie. I don't really know. Yes. Okay. I was already mentioned the disrespect. The Ukrainians, and it's like a lot of in Poland as well. The Polish people are really disgusted, like I was mentioned. The Ukrainians come there, they commit crimes, they beat up, on the Polish people, and I don't know. It's really strange anyway. Why would the Polish, whoa, scared me. Why would the Polish people go along with these Nazis? It's really, really, I don't know. And there is a certain type, believe it or not, you see a certain type of this Nazism, and like it's a little bit of a twist to it in the Polish government, of course, as well. They want conquest as well. They want to take over. What is well known is they want to take over, at least up to Lvov, they want to take over a portion of the western part of Ukraine. And I've mentioned before, but it's not really ever mentioned by bloggers or anything. But I can tell you this with 100% assurance, they want to take over Western Belarus too. And they have threatened to, starting off with this Kalinovsky regiment, to invade Belarus, to start a war on Belarus. And of course, to come, what they dream about a lot of these people, and Belarus knows this very well, is to come and to assassinate Lukashenko. And it's like, you can talk with people, you can even talk with these Belarusians, and you say, well, what did Lukashenko ever do to the Polish or the Lithuanians or any of those people over there, or the Latvians? And it's like, and then they say something about immigration. Well, Lukashenko was not sending these people that would come to Belarus for the sole purpose of going to Western Europe. They thought it was a route. You come to Belarus because the flights are cheaper, and then you march over across the border through Poland and then get to Germany. And Lukashenko used to either stop them, not let them get on the plane or whatever, or to send them back, things like that. And then they started these sanctions against Belarus, and Lukashenko says, well, why do I want to be spending all this money to help them when they are doing nothing but sanctioning us? So he was letting a lot of these people go over there. I don't know if maybe it's stopped by now. And so just because of that, but actually, let's go back. Before that was happening, many years before that, they were still doing crap against Belarus. Belarus never did anything. So they started, and then slowly they add more and more sanctions on, and this, and then they cut off the borders almost completely. I mean, they're getting even worse as time goes by. But I don't know. With this loosening between the United States and Russia, who knows what's going to be happening. But more of a rant from me. And all of the argument, I'll tell you what, if I could be playing this argument between Zelensky and Trump, I could be stopping it every minute or something. And Trump was saying, you're in no position to dictate. Dictate. And remember that word. He's saying, remember when Trump called him did I call him a dictator? Somebody else said. Trump was acting like he didn't. And he did. He called Zelensky a dictator because he's ruling without a mandate. And when he said to Zelensky, you're in no position to dictate, to come over here and to dictate, what we are to feel. And Zelensky was trying to, see, I'll tell you what, he should know very, very, very well that Trump knows that Putin has no plans, not even of invading Europe, but especially he's not going to invade the United States. And Zelensky is saying, because this is for public consumption for the people of the United States and to put pressure on their government. Oh, that Putin is going to come to the United States. He said, you will feel it then. And then Trump is saying, you're in no position to tell us what we're going to feel, or what we're not going to feel. So in a way, that's like Trump saying, what are you playing me for stupid? They played Joe Biden like a fiddle, like he was so stupid. And Trump is saying, you're not going to play me for stupid. It was so great. Yeah. So, I don't know if there's any more. Oh, I should also mention there's a thing going on, I guess, now with Orthodox Christians. And it's called Maslenizna. This is the first time I heard about it. I didn't even know this. But Masleniza. And part of that thing is, like you burn a scarecrow. And I saw something that it was done in the Donbass area. And I believe, if I can remember, I know that one of them, they had 3 scarecrows, so to speak. One of them was Ursula von der Leyen, one of them was Boris Johnson, and I think the other one might have been Zelensky. So, and then they set these on fire, and then they were joining hands, and there's maybe well over 100 people, and they were kind of going around, holding hands. Sounds like some kind of a radical Christian sort of thing, but it's not. What it is, to try to destroy evil. And it's before their fasting. They do this, I think, in a whole week before the fasting period. And there's even a place in Minsk, where they have, and it's like a Christmas market, and there's things, you go there and all. I was maybe planning on going there. I haven't even looked at any other news, to be honest with you, at all, because this other thing overshadows everything so much, this argument between Trump and all that. But yeah, it's to destroy evil. So that's about that. And well, I think that's about all I have to say, and it's a lot anyway. It's nearly an hour. And I thank you guys for joining me. Who knows, if there's a lot of people putting up videos now, this is really viral, this argument. So I don't know if it's going to take 6 hours for YouTube to upload this video or not. I don't know. We'll try it anyway. But I thank you guys for joining me, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. It might even be today. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.